The phone rang while I was mid-spill. Coffee dripped down my wrist, 2 bagels tumbled from their bag, and my boss's voice cut through the lobby like a serrated knife. Lily, line 3. This was my life at 25. A Manhattan law office receptionist with thrift store heels and student debt that could fund a small country. I grabbed napkins, steadied the tray, and smiled at the client waiting by the desk. Professional, poised, totally not dying inside. "Good morning, how can I help you?" The client nodded. I exhaled, surviving another Tuesday. My coworker Jenna leaned over. "Girl, you look like you ran a marathon in stilettos." "Feels like it too," I muttered, adjusting my blouse. It was wrinkled. Of course it was. Jenna grinned. "At least you've got that whole struggling but make it fashion vibe going." I snorted. "That's called poverty chic." She laughed, but her eyes flicked toward the glass doors. "Heads up, VIPs incoming." I glanced up just as 3 men in tailored suits entered. The kind of suits that cost more than my rent. Twice over. They moved like sharks. Smooth, silent, dangerous. And then he walked in. Tall. Dark hair slicked back. Jaw sharp enough to cut glass. He didn't look around. Didn't need to. Everyone else looked at him. Carlo Rossi. I'd heard the name whispered in break rooms and hallways. New York's most untouchable man. The kind of powerful that didn't need business cards. My pulse kicked up for no reason. Or maybe every reason. He passed my desk without a glance, heading toward the conference room with my boss trailing behind like a loyal puppy. Jenna whistled low. "That's him. The Italian." "Yeah," I breathed. I noticed. What I didn't notice? The phone in my hand. Still ringing. I hit the answer button without thinking. Pronto? Italian. It rolled off my tongue like butter. I'd been practicing for years, self-taught, obsessive, in love with the language since my dad used to play old Sinatra records in our kitchen. The voice on the other end was frantic, male, panicked. "Ascoltami tradimento Rossi, stai attenta." Listen to me. Betrayal. Rossi. Be careful. My brain stalled. Wrong number. Had to be. Scusa, ci parla?" I asked. "Who is this?" But the line went dead. I blinked at the phone, heart hammering. What the hell was that? Then I felt it. The weight of silence. I looked up. The entire lobby had gone still. Jenna's mouth hung open. My boss stood frozen in the conference room doorway. And Carlo Rossi? He stood 5 feet from my desk, eyes locked on me like I'd just pulled a gun. Dark, unblinking, deadly. "You speak Italian," he said. Not a question, a verdict. I forced a laugh, trying to break the tension. Duolingo?" His expression didn't shift, not even a flicker of amusement. He leaned slightly toward the man beside him, a mountain of muscle in a black suit, and murmured something in rapid Italian. I only caught 2 words. "Portala qui." Bring her. My stomach dropped. "Wait, what?" I stammered. But Carlo was already walking away, disappearing into the conference room like a ghost. The bodyguard stayed. His eyes never left me. Jenna grabbed my arm. "Lily, what just happened?" I don't know. But I did. I just answered the wrong call. In front of the wrong man. And now I was in trouble. They came for me at noon. 2 men, black suits, blank faces. They didn't ask, didn't explain. "Miss Smith," one said, his voice flat. "Mr. Rossi requests your presence." Requests. Cute word for a kidnapping. My boss appeared behind them, looking pale. "Lily. Just go with them." "It's fine." Fine? Fine? Nothing about this was fine. But what was I going to do? Run? Hide in the supply closet? Call 911 and say what? "Help! A hot Italian man said my name in a scary way"? I grabbed my purse, legs shaking. Jenna mouthed, "Text me." I nodded, but my fingers were numb. The men flanked me as we walked out. The lobby stared. Everyone stared. Outside, a black SUV waited. Tinted windows, engine purring. One of them opened the door. I hesitated. This was it. The moment in every thriller where the girl makes the dumbest decision of her life. "Miss Smith," the man repeated, firmer this time. I climbed in. The door shut behind me with a heavy click. And we drove. Through Midtown. Past tourists and taxis and people living normal lives. I pressed my palms against my thighs to stop them from shaking. What did I do? What did I say? The call. The Italian. His name. Tradimento. Betrayal. Someone had warned me about Carlo Rossi, and now I was heading straight to him. The SUV turned down a quiet street. Brownstones, trees, wealth disguised as calm. We stopped in front of a townhouse that looked like old money and older secrets. The door opened. Inside, the man said. I stepped out onto the sidewalk, legs wobbling. The front door of the townhouse swung open before I even reached it. A woman in a sleek black dress gestured me in without a word. I crossed the threshold, and the door closed behind me. Marble floors, chandeliers dripping crystal. Silence so thick it felt like velvet. This wasn't a home. It was a throne room. The woman led me down a hallway lined with dark wood and oil paintings, old men with hard eyes, watching. My heels clicked too loud, my breathing too shallow. We stopped at a set of double doors. She knocked once. Enter. She pushed the doors open. Inside was a dining room. Long table, wine-red walls. A single glass of red wine sat untouched at the head, and there he was. Carlo Rossi. He didn't look up right away. Just sat there, fingers steepled, lost in thought. The woman left. The doors clicked shut. It was just us. I stood there like an idiot, clutching my purse. Finally he spoke. Sit. His voice was smooth, controlled. The kind of calm that came before storms. I sat. He still didn't look at me. Do you know why you're here? He asked. Because you said bring her? I tried to joke. His eyes flicked up. No smile. That call, he said quietly. Who was it? I don't know. Wrong number. Wrong numbers, he said, leaning forward slightly. Do not say my name. My throat tightened. He tilted his head, studying me like I was a puzzle he didn't have patience for. You will tell me everything you heard, word for word. And just like that, I realized. I wasn't a guest. I was a suspect. He didn't yell, didn't threaten. That was the scary part. Carlo Rossi sat across from me, perfectly still, and asked the same questions over and over. What did the voice sound like? Panicked, male, Italian accent. What exact words did he use? Tradimento, betrayal, your name, stai attenta, be careful. And you understood all of this? Yes. His jaw tightened. Hours blurred. My throat was dry. My head pounded. At some point, someone brought water. I drank it too fast. Carlo watched me the entire time. You're either very unlucky, he finally said, or very clever. I vote unlucky, I muttered. His mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. You don't seem afraid. I'm terrified, I shot back. I'm just bad at showing it. Silence. Then he leaned back, fingers drumming the table. Someone close to me is speaking, he said, more to himself than me. Using you as a messenger. I'm not a messenger. I'm a receptionist who answered the wrong call. And now you're here. Yeah, against my will. He stood abruptly, the chair scraping back. I flinched, but he didn't move toward me. Just walked to the window, hands in his pockets. You'll stay here tonight, he said, under protection. Protection? I stood too, anger flaring. You mean, prisoner? He turned, eyes dark. If I wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. The words hit like ice water. I swallowed hard. Then what do you want? He stepped closer, too close. I want to know why someone used you to send me a warning. His cologne hit me sharp, expensive, dangerous. And until I do, he added quietly, you're not going anywhere. They gave me a guest room, silk sheets, a view of the garden, a locked door. I paced for an hour. This was insane. I wasn't part of this world. I didn't know anything. But Carlo didn't believe that. Or worse, he did, and it didn't matter. I was a thread, and he was pulling it to see what unraveled. A knock. The door opened. A man in a suit stepped in, holding a tray of food. Mr. Rossi insists you eat. I stared at the tray. Pasta, bread, wine. Is it poisoned? I asked flatly. The man didn't blink. No. Comforting. He set it down and left. I ate, mostly because spite only goes so far on an empty stomach. The pasta was perfect. Homemade, rich. I hated that it was delicious. Another knock. This time, no one entered. I opened the door. Empty hallway. But on the floor? A phone. Not mine. A burner. I picked it up. One message. He's testing you. Don't trust anyone. My blood turned cold. Who sent this? I looked down the hallway. Shadows. Silence. Was this another warning? Or a trap? I shoved the phone under the mattress and sat on the bed, heart racing. Carlo thought someone was using me. But what if they still were? Morning came with soft light and the smell of coffee. I woke disoriented, still dressed, tangled in silk. For a second, I forgot. Then I remembered. Mafia boss, locked room, mystery phone. Great. I tried the door. Unlocked. Wait. What? I stepped into the hallway. Quiet. Empty. Cautiously, I made my way downstairs. Voices drifted from the kitchen. I followed them. Carlo sat at a breakfast table, reading a newspaper. Espresso in hand. Casual. Like this was normal. He looked up. You're awake. And apparently, not locked in. You were never locked in. I blinked. The door was closed, not locked. I stared at him. He folded the paper. You're free to leave any time. Seriously? Seriously. Relief flooded me. Great. I'll just… But, he interrupted smoothly. The moment you walk out that door, I can't protect you. I froze. Protect me from what? He stood, buttoning his suit jacket. Whoever made that call knows you heard it. Knows you spoke to me. If they think you're a threat. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. I sank into a chair. So I'm free. But not really. Exactly. I wanted to scream. Or cry. Or both. Instead, I laughed. Because what else could I do? This is insane. Welcome to my world, he said quietly. And for the first time, I saw something flicker in his eyes. Not cruelty. Exhaustion. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the burner phone. The message. He's testing you. Was Carlo playing me? Or was someone else? I got up, pacing the room. Then I saw it. A folded piece of paper. Slipped under the door. My hands shook as I picked it up. The handwriting was messy. Desperate. Non fidarti di lui. Don't trust him. No signature. I read it twice. 3 times. Someone in this house was warning me. About Carlo. I shoved the letter into my pocket just as footsteps echoed in the hall. A knock. Lily. Carlo's voice. I opened the door, trying to look calm. He stood there, still dressed. Eyes sharp. Can't sleep? He asked. Can you? I countered. A ghost of a smile. No. We stood there, the silence heavy. You shouldn't have answered that call, he said finally. I didn't know you were standing there. Now you do. He stepped closer. Close enough that I could see the exhaustion carved into his face. Do I scare you? He asked quietly. I wanted to lie. Yes. He nodded slowly. Good. Why is that good? Because fear keeps you careful. And you'll need that. He turned to leave. Carlo. He stopped. Why am I really here? He looked back, something unreadable in his gaze. Because someone's using you to get to me, and until I know who. He paused. You're safer with me than without me. The door closed. I stood there, heart pounding. The letter burned in my pocket. Don't trust him. But God help me. I already wanted to. 3 days in, and I'd become Carlo's unwitting translator. Not officially. But every time a message came through in Italian, every time a contact from Sicily called, I was summoned to his office. Lily. Now. Always the same tone. Command wrapped in courtesy. I'd started keeping a notepad. This morning's message was simple. La spedizione arriva giovedì. Nessun testimone. The shipment arrives Thursday. No witnesses. I read it aloud, keeping my voice flat. Carlo leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. And what? Your thoughts. My thoughts? I blinked. I'm a translator, not a consultant. You're observant. You notice things. I shifted uncomfortably. I noticed that no witnesses usually means bad news. A flicker of approval crossed his face. Smart girl. Don't call me that. Why? Because it sounds condescending. He tilted his head. Would you prefer clever woman? I'd prefer you let me go home. Silence stretched between us. Heavy. Charged. Not yet, he said quietly. I wanted to argue. But the truth was, I'd stopped pushing as hard. Because part of me, the stupid, self-destructive part, was curious. About him. About this world. About why his eyes looked so tired when he thought no one was watching. Another message came in last night, he said, sliding a phone across the desk. I picked it up. Voice memo. I hit play. Italian. Fast. Angry. Il traditore è vicino. Più vicino di quanto pensi. The traitor is close. Closer than you think. My stomach twisted. I looked up. Carlo. I know. His jaw tightened. Someone in my circle wants me dead. And you're keeping me here because? Because whoever it is used you once. They might try again. Our eyes locked. For the first time, I understood. I wasn't just a witness. I was bait. You need to eat. Carlo stood in the doorway of my room, dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than my college tuition. I ate, I said, not looking up from my book. Crackers and spite don't count. I glanced at him. How poetic. Did you workshop that? He almost smiled. Almost. Dinner, downstairs, now. Is this a request or a command? Does it matter? Fair point. I followed him down to the dining room. The table was set for two. Candles, wine, pasta that smelled like heaven. I sat warily. This feels like a trap. It's just dinner, he said, pouring wine into my glass. Nothing with you is just anything. He raised his glass. To survival. I hesitated, then clinked mine against his. To getting out of here alive. Optimistic. Realistic. We ate in silence for a moment. The pasta was perfect. Again. I hated that. Who taught you Italian? He asked suddenly. I paused, fork midair. My dad. He loved old Italian films. Fellini, De Sica. We'd watch them every Sunday. Loved. Past tense. He died when I was 19. Something softened in his expression. I'm sorry. Don't be. You didn't kill him. Still. I took a sip of wine. What about you? Born into this, or born into it, raised for it, trapped by it. The honesty startled me. You could leave, I said. He laughed low, bitter. No. I couldn't. Why not? He looked at me, really looked at me, and for a second the walls came down. Because the moment I do, everyone I care about dies. The weight of those words settled between us. I put down my fork. That's a lonely way to live. It's the only way I know. Our eyes held, and for a dangerous, reckless moment, I wanted to reach across the table and touch his hand. I didn't, but I think he saw it. Late that night I couldn't sleep. I wandered downstairs, drawn by soft piano music drifting through the halls. I followed the sound to a room I hadn't seen before. The door was cracked open. Inside, Carlo sat at a grand piano, fingers moving over the keys with surprising grace. The melody was haunting. Sad. I stood frozen, not wanting to intrude but unable to leave. Then he stopped. You're not as quiet as you think, he said without turning. Busted. I stepped inside. I didn't know you played. My sister taught me. Past tense again. I moved closer. The one who died. Yes. He didn't look at me, just stared at the keys. I'm sorry, I said softly. Everyone's sorry. No one can bring her back. The pain in his voice was raw, real. I sat beside him on the bench, close enough to feel the heat of him. What was her name? He hesitated. Then, Elena. She must have been amazing if she could get you to sit still long enough to learn piano. A ghost of a smile. She was stubborn. Runs in the family, apparently. He turned his head, and suddenly we were too close. His eyes weren't cold anymore. They were searching. You're not afraid of me right now, he said quietly. Should I be? Probably. But neither of us moved. His gaze dropped to my mouth for half a second, just long enough for my breath to catch. Then he stood abruptly. You should sleep. And just like that, the walls were back up. I left the room, heart pounding, but I felt his eyes on me the entire way out. The next morning, Carlo summoned me to his study. When I walked in, he was standing by the window, shoulders tense. Close the door. I did. Sit. I sat. He didn't turn around, just spoke to the glass. 12 years ago, I trusted the wrong person. I stayed quiet, sensing this wasn't a conversation. It was a confession. His name was Marco, my father's consigliere. Brilliant, loyal, or so we thought. His voice hardened. He sold us out to a rival family, gave them everything. Locations, shipments, names. My chest tightened. My sister Elena was at the wrong place at the wrong time. She was 17. Oh God. They killed her to send a message, to show my father what betrayal cost. He finally turned. His eyes were empty, hollowed out. I found her body myself. I couldn't breathe. I'm sorry, I whispered. Carlo, I'm so… Don't. His voice was sharp, then softer. Don't apologize for something you didn't do. Then why are you telling me this? He walked toward me, slow and deliberate, stopped right in front of me. Because I need you to understand something. What? Trust is a currency I can't afford to spend. Every person close to me is a weapon someone else can use. He crouched down, eye level with me now. And you, Lily. You got close without even trying. My heart hammered. I'm not close to you, I said, voice shaking. I'm a prisoner. Are you? His eyes searched mine. Because I think if you really wanted to leave, you would have tried harder. I wanted to deny it, to lie. But he was right. I want to know who's doing this to you, I admitted. Who sent that call? Who's trying to hurt you? Why? Good question. Because… I swallowed. Because no one deserves to carry that much grief alone. Something cracked in his expression. He stood, turning away. You're too kind for this world. And you're too broken to see that you deserve kindness too. Silence. Then, barely audible, careful, Lily. You're starting to sound like you care. I stood, moving toward the door. But I paused at the threshold. Maybe I do. And I left before he could respond. 2 nights later, it happened again. I was asleep when the phone buzzed. Not my phone. The burner. I grabbed it, heart racing. Unknown number. I answered. Pronto? Heavy breathing. Then, Lily. That voice. I knew it now. Who are you? I whispered. Non hai molto tempo. Lui ti sta osservando. You don't have much time. He's watching you. Watching me. Who's watching? Carlo non è quello che sembra. Stai attenta. Carlo isn't what he seems. Be careful. Wait. Click. Deadline. I sat there, shaking. The voice. Familiar now. Italian accent. Older. Rough. And then it hit me. I'd heard it before. Not on the first call. Somewhere else. A memory surfaced. Carlo's office. A photo on his desk. An older man beside a younger Carlo, both in suits. The plaque beneath it read, Silvio de Rosa, in memoriam. My blood ran cold. Silvio, the man presumed dead, was calling me. I waited until morning. Couldn't sleep anyway. When Carlo came down for coffee, I cornered him. Who's Silvio de Rosa? He froze. Coffee cup halfway to his lips. Where did you hear that name? The photo in your office. Who is he? Carlo set the cup down slowly, dangerously calm. He was my father's right hand. My mentor. His jaw tightened. He died 4 years ago. Are you sure about that? His eyes snapped to mine. What did you say? I pulled out the burner phone, hands shaking. I've been getting calls, in Italian. And the voice. Carlo, I think it's him. He moved fast, grabbed the phone from my hand. When? Last night, and before. He warned me about you, said you're not what you seem. Carlo's face went stone cold. Play it. I can't. No voicemail, just live calls. He stared at the phone like it was a bomb. Silvio's dead. I was at his funeral. What if he faked it? Why would he… Carlo stopped. Understanding dawned. To disappear. To operate in the shadows. Against you? Maybe. He paced, running a hand through his hair. If Silvio's alive, if he's been orchestrating this from the beginning, then he's the traitor, I finished. Carlo looked at me, fear and fury warring in his eyes. And he's been using you to send me messages. The room felt too small. What do we do? I asked. His gaze hardened. We set a trap. Carlo called an emergency meeting. His inner circle. 6 men. All dressed in suits. All watching me like I didn't belong. Someone here is feeding information to our enemies, Carlo said, voice calm but lethal. No one spoke. Lily has been receiving calls, in Italian, from someone claiming to have inside knowledge. Eyes shifted toward me, suspicious, assessing. One man, tall, scarred, spoke up. And we're trusting her because I say so, Carlo snapped. Silence. I need to know who else has access to private channels, who knew about Thursday's shipment before it was confirmed. Murmurs, uncomfortable glances. Carlo's gaze swept the room. If Silvio de Rosa is alive, someone here has been in contact with him. The scarred man laughed. Silvio's dead, boss. We buried him. Did we? Carlo's voice was ice. Or did we bury a body we assumed was his? The room went cold. I stepped forward, surprising myself. I can help. All eyes turned. If he calls again, I'll keep him talking. Trace the call, get answers. Carlo looked at me, something unreadable in his expression. It's dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. A beat. Then he nodded. All right, but you don't do this alone. Then stay close, I said. And for the first time since I met him, Carlo smiled. Really smiled. That evening, a box arrived. Plain, white, no markings. It was waiting on my bed when I returned from dinner. I approached cautiously, half expecting something sinister. I opened it. Inside, a single white rose. Perfect, pristine, and a note. In my world, white roses mean protection. No signature, but I knew. Carlo. My fingers trembled as I lifted the rose. It smelled faintly of something expensive. Clean. A knock at the door. I turned. Carlo stood there, hands in his pockets. Did you get it? Why? He stepped inside. Because despite everything, you're safer with me than anywhere else. Is that what the rose means? A reminder I'm your prisoner? No. He moved closer. It means I won't let anything happen to you. The air between us crackled. You barely know me, I whispered. I know enough. Like what? Like you're brave when you should be terrified, funny when you should be silent, and stubborn enough to make me question every rule I've ever followed. My breath caught. He reached out, fingers brushing my cheek. Barely a touch. You're dangerous, Lily Smith. So are you. His gaze dropped to my lips. For one reckless heartbeat, I thought he might kiss me. Then his phone buzzed. Reality crashed back. He stepped away, answering. What? His face darkened. When? Where? He hung up. Looked at me. We have a problem. Carlo handed me his phone. Read this. It was a text. In Italian. Coded. Layered with meaning. Ti fidi di lei? È nostra. Il sangue parla più forte della fedeltà. Guarda più da vicino. You trust her? She's ours. Blood speaks louder than loyalty. Look closer. My hands shook. What does it mean? Carlo's voice was tight. They're saying, I swallowed. They're saying I'm theirs, that I'm working for them. His eyes searched mine. Hard, unyielding. Are you? The question gutted me. No, I breathed. Carlo, I swear. Then how do they know you're here? How do they know you're translating for me? I don't know. He grabbed my shoulders. Not rough, but firm, desperate. Lily, tell me the truth. Did Silvio contact you before that first call? No, I swear. I didn't even know your name before that day. His grip loosened, but doubt lingered in his eyes. Blood speaks louder than loyalty, he repeated. What does that mean? I read it again. My heart stopped. Carlo, do you have family I don't know about? No. My parents are dead. Elena's gone. Cousins, extended family? A few, but no one I'm close to. I stared at the message. Look closer. And then it hit me. Carlo, the mole, whoever's leaking information. What? What if they're family? His face went white. That's impossible. Is it? He pulled out his phone, scrolling fast. Pulled up a file. A photo. A younger man, mid-30s, dark hair, familiar eyes. My cousin, Dante. He's been in Sicily for months, handling operations. I looked at the photo, then at Carlo. When's the last time you spoke to him? 2 weeks ago. And Silvio? Did he know Dante? Carlo's expression crumbled. He raised him. Oh God. Carlo. Dante's the spy. His voice was hollow, broken. And Silvio's been using him and you to destroy me from the inside. I didn't think. I just moved. Out of my room, down the stairs, past the guards who barely glanced up, because Carlo had told them I was free to leave, and I was taking him up on it. The city air hit me like a slap. Cold, real. I walked fast, heels clicking on pavement. No destination, just away. Away from the lies, the danger. The way his eyes made me forget I was supposed to be scared. My phone buzzed. Carlo's number. I declined. It rang again. Declined. Again. I turned it off. Brooklyn Bridge was ahead. I kept walking, pulse racing. You trust her? She's ours. The message replayed in my head. Over and over. Carlo had looked at me like I might be the enemy. Like everything we'd shared, the dinners, the confessions, the white rose meant nothing against evidence. And maybe it didn't. Maybe I was stupid for thinking I could exist in his world without getting burned. A car slowed beside me. Black, Tinted windows. Not Carlo's. My stomach dropped. The window rolled down. And a voice I'd only heard on the phone spoke in person. "Ciao, Lily." "Silvio." He didn't grab me, didn't threaten. Just opened the door. "Get in, or they'll find you first." "Who?" "The men Carlo will send when he realizes you ran." I hesitated. "I'm not going to hurt you," Silvio said, almost gently. "I'm the one who's been trying to protect you." Against every instinct, I got in. The car moved. Smooth. Fast. Silvio sat across from me. Older than Carlo. Silver hair. Sharp eyes. He looked like someone who'd seen too much and survived anyway. "You don't remember me," he said. "Should I?" "No. But I remember you." I frowned. "What are you talking about?" He pulled out a photograph. Old. Faded. It showed a little girl. Maybe 8. Dark hair. Big eyes. Me. "Where did you get that?" "Your father," Silvio said quietly. "Antonio Smith. He worked for us. Briefly. Years ago." My blood ran cold. "That's impossible. My dad was a teacher." "He was. And a translator. For the Rossi family." Silvio leaned back. "He got out before things turned ugly. But Carlo's father never forgot." I couldn't breathe. "You're lying." "Am I? How do you think you learned Italian so well? Why do you think those old films felt like home?" Tears burned my eyes. My father had nothing to do with. He had everything to do with it. And when he left, he took something that didn't belong to him. "What?" Silvio smiled. Sad. Bitter. "Secrets. Documents. Proof of deals that could have destroyed the Rossi empire. And you think I have them?" "No. But Carlo's father did. And when he died, those secrets vanished." I shook my head. "This is insane." "It's the truth. That first call? It wasn't random. I knew you'd answer. I knew Carlo would notice. And I knew he'd pull you into this world." "Why?" "Because I needed him distracted. Emotional. Vulnerable." My heart sank. "I was bait." "You were a pawn," he corrected. "And you played your part beautifully." The car stopped. We were in a warehouse district. Empty. Echoey. Silvio opened the door. "Come, there's someone who wants to meet you." I didn't move. "Lily, if you run now, Carlo will assume you're guilty. Stay, and I'll prove you're not." I had no choice. I followed him inside. And standing in the shadows was Dante, Carlo's cousin, holding a gun. "Took you long enough," Dante said, not lowering the weapon. Silvio held up a hand. "She's not the target." "Then why is she here?" "Because Carlo needs to see what betrayal looks like." My voice cracked. "You're insane, both of you." "No," Silvio said. "We're survivors. Carlo's father destroyed families, killed innocents. Someone had to stop his legacy. Carlo isn't his father." "Isn't he?" Dante stepped closer. "He runs the same operations, controls the same networks. Blood doesn't lie, Lily. Neither does loyalty." A voice cut through the darkness. "Carlo." He stepped into the dim light, flanked by 2 men. His face was stone, but his eyes burned. "Let her go," he said quietly. Dante laughed. "Or what? Or I put a bullet between your eyes and sleep just fine tonight." The air crackled. Silvio moved between them. "Carlo, listen. You died 4 years ago, Silvio. Stay dead. I had to disappear. Your father would have killed me for knowing too much. And now you've aligned with my cousin to destroy me. How noble." Dante raised the gun toward Carlo. I moved without thinking. Stepped in front of him. "Don't." Carlo grabbed my arm, tried to pull me back. "Lily, he won't shoot me," I said, staring at Dante. "Because I'm the only proof he has that this was about justice, not revenge." Dante's hand wavered. "She's right," Silvio said. "Lower the gun." "No, this ends tonight." A shot rang out. But not from Dante. From behind us. Carlo's consigliere Marco stepped forward, gun smoking. Dante collapsed. Silvio lunged, but Marco fired again. Both men hit the ground. I screamed. Carlo pulled me behind him, his own gun drawn. "Marco?" His voice was lethal. The consigliere smiled. Cold. Empty. "You're too soft, Carlo. Just like your father said you'd be." And everything clicked. "You," Carlo breathed. "It was you the whole time." Marco laughed. Silvio thought he was pulling the strings. Dante thought he was the hero. But me? I've been playing both sides for years. Why? Because your family ruined mine. And watching you scramble, watching you trust the wrong people, he grinned. It was poetry. Carlo's grip on his gun tightened. Where's your loyalty? Loyalty? Marco spat. I buried that with my brother. The one your father executed for stealing pocket change. My heart pounded. Carlo, stay behind me. But Marco wasn't done. I fed information to Silvio, manipulated Dante, and I used her, he gestured at me, to break you, the great Carlo Rossi, falling for a nobody translator. Pathetic. Carlo's jaw clenched. You want to shoot me, Marco? Do it, but you'll have to get through her first. Gladly. He raised his gun. And Carlo moved. Fast, brutal. A single shot. Marco crumpled. Silence. Carlo stood there, gun still raised, chest heaving. I ran to him. Are you okay? He lowered the weapon slowly. Looked at me. You stepped in front of a gun for me. I didn't think. Exactly. You didn't think. His voice cracked. You could have died. So could you. He pulled me into his chest, holding tight. You're not the enemy, Lily. You never were. I clung to him, shaking. I know. The opera house was supposed to be neutral ground. It wasn't. Carlo had called a meeting, his remaining inner circle, representatives from rival families, and me. I stood beside him, silent, as he addressed the room. For months I've been betrayed, by blood, by brothers, by those I called family. His voice echoed through the grand hall. Some of you knew, some helped, some stayed silent. No one spoke. Carlo switched to Italian, fluid, powerful. Ma il tradimento ha un prezzo, e stasera, quel prezzo sarà pagato. But betrayal has a price, and tonight, that price will be paid. He gestured to me. Translate. I stepped forward, voice steady. He says that betrayal carries a cost. Tonight that cost is due. Murmurs rippled through the room. Carlo continued, darker now. Ci tradisce la famiglia, supplica pietà in un'altra vita. I translated, every word weighted. Those who betray family will beg for mercy in another life. The room went cold. One man stood, tried to leave. Carlo's men blocked the exits. No one leaves until this is finished, Carlo said. What followed was brutal, honest, necessary. Confessions extracted, alliances severed, mercy given only where earned. By the end, the room was half empty, and Carlo stood at the center, unbroken. He looked at me across the expanse, and nodded once. We'd survived, together. Back at the townhouse, reality crashed down. I sat on the edge of my bed, hands shaking. Carlo found me there. You're quiet. I just watched you dismantle lives. I protected mine. I know. I looked up. But I can't do this anymore. He went still. Can't do what? This. Your world. The violence. The lies. My voice broke. I don't belong here, Carlo. You do? No. I'm a translator, not a soldier, not whatever you need me to be. He crouched in front of me, eyes searching. What do you think I need? Someone stronger. You stepped in front of a gun. That was stupid. That was brave. Tears spilled over. I can't be brave anymore. I'm exhausted. He cupped my face gently. Then rest. Here, with me. You don't need me. I do. For what? Translation. No. His thumb brushed my cheek. For this. For someone who sees me as more than a monster. My heart shattered. I have to go. His hands dropped. Then go. And he left the room without looking back. I packed mechanically. Clothes, shoes. The white rose, dried now, pressed between pages of a book. My phone sat silent on the dresser. Until it rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But habit won. Pronto? Silence. Then, it's me. Carlo. My breath caught. Why are you calling from? Because if I came to your room, I'd beg. And I don't beg. Silence stretched. So I'm asking instead, he continued, voice raw. Come home. I'm at your house. No, you're in a guest room, packed, ready to run. How did he? Come home, Lily, not to the townhouse, to me. Tears blurred my vision. Carlo. I know I'm asking too much. I know you deserve better. But, he paused. But I'm asking anyway. Why? Because for the first time in 12 years, I don't feel alone. My heart cracked open. I'm scared, I whispered. So am I. Of what? Of how much I need you. I closed my eyes. One condition. Anything. No more lies. No more secrets. If I stay knowing everything. Deal. And I'm not your employee, or your prisoner. Then what are you? I smiled through tears. I don't know yet, but we'll figure it out. Together? Together. I hung up and started unpacking. He was waiting downstairs. Not in the study, not in the dining room, in the piano room, playing the same haunting melody from before. I stood in the doorway, watching. When he finished, he looked up. You came back. I did. He stood, crossing to me slowly. Why? Because I'm tired of running from things that scare me. And I scare you? Terrify me, I admitted. But not because of who you are, because of how you make me feel. His hand reached for mine. How do I make you feel? Like maybe danger isn't always something to escape. Sometimes it's something to choose. He pulled me closer, his other hand sliding to my waist. I don't have much to offer, Lily. My world is dark, violent, unforgiving. I know. I can't promise safety. I don't want safety. I want honesty. Then here's my truth. His forehead touched mine. I'm falling for you, have been since you made that terrible Duolingo joke. I laughed, breathless. That's your truth? Part of it. The rest is, he paused. The rest is that I'll spend every day proving you didn't make a mistake by staying. And if I did, then I'll spend every day after that making it right. He kissed me. Slow, deliberate, like he had all the time in the world and wanted to use every second. When we pulled apart, I whispered, So what now? Now? He smiled, real, warm, devastating. Now you teach me terrible Italian pickup lines. I laughed. You're fluent. Not in the language of us. Smooth, Rossi. I try. He pulled me to the piano bench. We sat, shoulders touching. Play something, I said. What? Something hopeful. His fingers found the keys. A new melody, lighter than before. Not haunted, not sad. Just beginning. And as the music filled the room, I realized something. Home wasn't a place. It wasn't safety or certainty. It was choosing to stay when you could leave. It was finding someone worth translating your heart for. It was this. Him. Us. And for the first time in weeks, maybe years, I wasn't afraid. I was home.